in 2006, I was visiting one of the workers, and we were talking about immigration. We were talking about the fact that that person was undocumented. She asked me, what can I do? Should I go back to my country or should I fight? I say, well, May 1st is coming and we might have the opportunity to march. And she was, well, what we're going to be resolving with march? I say, at least our voice is going to be heard. And we are starting to march on Chicago. And was one of the biggest march, and then we are starting to move to other cities and marching. And the question that she asked, what would be the opportunity to get immigration reform? And at that time I say, I see like a 10%. And it is amazing how on Thursday, 68 vote was in favor of immigration reform in the Senate. So this one is the power that people have. And one other thing that for every panel, everyone who is here today, I just want to say, if you're committed for immigration reform and for immigrants' rights, this one is going to be for life because we're going to be continue this fight even after we get immigration reform. So I would like to talk about the immigration reform, and I would like to see it from the perspective of the workers. We in La Fuente, we serve as a bridge between union and community members. We encourage for civil participation. At this moment, this one has been a big step. If we ask many people about immigration reform, this one, the S-744 is a right move, or is a move in the right direction. Approximately 11 million of people will be able to, in one way or another, will be able to really get some type of being able to really become ordered their legal status in the U.S. And that will have an effect on everyone that we see: workers, low-wage workers, workers who came for skilled workers. So one of the things that I would like to be talking today, it would be about the effect on workers. One of the things that this bill will bring, it would be the fact that workers will have what we call a due process and protection for the protection for the same the similar protection that U.S. or American workers will have, especially when it comes to an enroll in electronic employment verification system. Another important thing, and myself who has been involved for the last 12 years in organizing low-wage workers, it is the fact that this reform will, if it's passed, this bill, it will bring a remedy to the Huffman Plastic basically decision by the Supreme Court, which means, in another way, that if I am a worker, an employee, and basically I was fired, or my boss was stealing, my employer was stealing my wages, based on the decision of the Supreme Court in 2002, that employee will not have any remedy, will not be able to any compensation. That this immigration reform will bring remedy to that, and will be ending that part as it's reading now. That will be huge. But in the most important sense, it would be the fact that the workers will be immigrants' family will be able to come from the shadow. We are living here in New York City, and I call New York City, compared to other states and compared to other cities, I call an oasis in the desert. When we talk about immigrants' rights, when we talk about workers' rights, but many of our employees or workers who are undocumented are very afraid still, even in New York City, to bring cases of discrimination, to bring cases of wage theft. And when we talk about this law, it would be an expansion, not just in New York City, but it would be as the law if it's passed in the whole U.S. And that would be huge for many workers on low-wage workers. One other thing that we'll say, and this is the part that I say that after today we have to continue organizing and we have to continue fighting. It is the fact that the bill is not as we want to. And there is provision as Angela Fernandez mentioned before, there is provision that we have to see, we have to continue fighting, which is basically the militarization of our border. It is amazing the amount of money that is going to be dedicated in order to militarize our southern border, and that's something that we had to be fighting, that we had to be organizing against. Also, the E-Verify, that would be a provision that is going to be potentially on the bill, and that means that every employee who is going to be soliciting for a job basically has to be their record has to be looking in by the federal government. And the more important it is that electronic employment eligibility verification does not provide or do not stop what I call the abuses that exist or are being exercised by many employers. So that's something that we have to continue organizing and we have to continue fighting. And I just want to be just telling to all the activist panel who are here and to the people who are outside that it would be key that we continue organizing. And when I was back from Dominican Republic, when I was in Dominican Republic, I was a kid at that time. I was with my father. We were reading about the Chinese Wall or the Roman Empire. One thing that stayed in my head was that it doesn't matter how many big walls or how many walls and how long or how tall are those walls. Human beings as a nation, we're going to continue migrating. We're going to continue coming to other places, going to other places. And what we need to be ensuring it is that our human right, not just workers' right, immigrants' right, women's right, could continue being defended, continue being exercised, fully exercised. And after this bill is being passed, and hopefully will be passed because we're going to continue organizing, we want to ensure that those people who will be coming here to this country, as myself, we continue fighting for their right, and they continue getting involved into their life. So thank you so much, and we're going to be opening for any questions. Thank you.
Actually, I heard that when you're talking about people will continue to immigrate. I heard an interesting statistic this week during all the